Welcome all to today's ASRG-WORLD webinar. We have the 8th of July 2021 and we are streaming from Stuttgart in Germany. Thank you for being with us. My name is Sven Schran and I am coordinating with ASRG the European locations. The Automotive Security Research Group is now nearly 4 years old and we are a non-profit organization which provides a platform for the automotive security industry, as well as related academics or organizations, to share knowledge, build powerful networks and valuable collaborations. This community is for you and it is based on volunteer support. If you want to know more details about ASRG, please check out our website at www.asrg.io. Maybe you have an idea for a nice project and look for partners to realize it. You would like to start your own location, you have an idea about a service ASRG could provide, or you simply know a great organization which could partner with ASRG. We are open to hear each idea you have in mind and would like to discuss how ASRG can support it. And get in touch with us. You quickly can send us an email with your thoughts to hello@asrg.io. So, this is now enough from my side for today and I don't want to keep you tortured anymore because I'm very sure you are waiting curiously for our main presentation. Like every time, in case you have questions during the presentation, please write it into the chat window. After the session, we will have some more minutes for questions and answers. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Rossen Naydenov, Network and Information Security Expert at the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, ENISA. Today, he will give us an overview about ENISA and cybersecurity in the connected and automated mobility world. And now I would like to hand over to Rossen. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Sven. Really appreciate to be presenting here in front of the Automotive Security and Research Group. I really appreciate this, and I'm sure today we're going to understand how we can help you and how you can help us in the cybersecurity world when we're talking about connected and automated mobility. So without further ado, I am going to start my presentation. So first, how do we see in ENISA the connected and automated mobility world? So for us, this is an IoT on wheels. This is a computer on wheels. So for us, we understand that there is a wide ecosystems of different OEMs that are producing vehicles, different intelligent transports which are talking to these vehicles, different suppliers that are providing products and services to different OEMs and also to the different transport systems in order this to happen, as well as third-party services like applications that provide ride-sharing, different modes of operation of transport like scooters, bikes, and so on and so forth. And they all require advanced connectivity and adaptive behavior. Some of them require artificial intelligence in order to provide you the best service, and they also require numerous sensors and actuators in order to provide this service. So for instance, if we're talking about smart parking, they can provide you with a place where you can park your car and you can go to the right place to park your car. And for this, they require also real-time information and real-time data. So this is also valid for other sectors, not only connected and automated mobility, but also for smart homes, for smart hospitals, for aviation, for smart airports, and for smart cities. Inevitably, all of them are connected to all these systems that I just talked about. So what does ENISA do in this particular area? So we are supporting the implementation of the NIS directive in the transport sector. The current version of the NIS directive is requires road authorities and intelligent transport systems to have certain level of cybersecurity requirements met, as well as certain major incidents being reported to the national competent authorities. The ENISA directive is currently being revised, and it includes also manufacturers of electronic equipment, as well as manufacturers of motor vehicles. So this is the new version of the ENISA directive, which is not been adopted yet. So there might be some changes, but there is something of interest that might be coming into this area. So in the last year, we have published a numerous reports on the connected and automated mobility, building on the good practices that we have published in 2017 on smart cars. We have published a new version of good practices for smart cars, which is from published in 2020, which is actually encompassing automated vehicles with levels 4 and 5, so fully automated vehicles. And there we're discussing different security measures and challenges, how you can overcome these challenges. And as you can imagine, we are not writing these documents out of ourselves only. We engage with the community to receive information about issues, about challenges that you are seeing. And for this reason, we are talking with the standards bodies, we are talking with European institutions and bodies, and we are also talking with the private industry. So ENISA has one group which is called CAMSEC, where we have asked people to apply for this group to be able to provide us with information on cybersecurity challenges, issues that they're facing, in order for us to be able to address properly this in terms of cybersecurity. So we are engaging with OEMs, as I said, private institutions, tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, but we are also engaging with small startups which are providing, let's say, software for different modes of operation, as I said, transport operation, but also that are providing software for instance, for gear changing, of automatic gear changing of cars, or maintenance prediction. So we are talking to the industry and to the public institutions when we're talking about cybersecurity, in order to be able to provide proper ways how to tackle the challenges that are faced in this area. Now, specifically on the good practices for security of smart cars, we have bundled them into 3 different types of cybersecurity practices. One is policy, or obviously what you should be having when you are dealing with cybersecurity of smart cars. So cybersecurity by design, privacy, asset management, risk threat management, and also organizational practices for your company. So what you should be doing, how you should be organizing your daily life, or with supply chain, and so on and so forth. And of course, we have technical practices, which are the technical measures that you need to have in order to have a good cybersecurity in smart cars. And of course, these are recommendations, so they all need to be taken with a risk-based approach. So maybe not all of them are going to be applicable in all cases. So for sure, you need to take into account what are you trying to protect, and then you can be looking at the measures that we are offering for these specific assets that you want to protect and threats. And actually, we have tools on our website that I will speak about a little bit later, where you can actually see them and download them for free. So if we go to our next effort, and here ENISA is trying to provide harmonization inside the automotive transport. We are aware that there are specific standards that are applicable for specific types of stakeholders inside the connected and automated mobility area, like for instance OEMs, but along the lines of the supply chain, not all the stakeholders in the supply chain have standards which are applicable to them. So what we're trying here is to provide harmonization. We're trying to map different cybersecurity standards to a single, so to say, taxonomy, where one can see if they're applying one cybersecurity standard, if they're also complying with other standards or with other recommendations that we are providing in terms of cybersecurity. As I said, the information that we have provided in terms of these cybersecurity measures have been validated with the community. So we have also talked with the manufacturers, with the OEMs, with the suppliers, with the different DGs within the European Commission, which are also responsible for dealing with specific policy initiatives within this area. And part of our cybersecurity model has been used actually by the UNEC Working Party 29 when they were delivering their regulations. As I said, our latest study, which is published in 2020, it says here 2019, this is when we did the actual work, but this was published in 2020, actually maps what has already been proposed by the UNEC regulation regarding security updates and management of cybersecurity incidents. We have also added specifically cybersecurity measures which are covering, as I said, semi-autonomous and fully autonomous vehicles, with including the wider ecosystem. So not only the vehicles in themselves, but also the infrastructure, the supply chain, and so on and so forth. And since we're talking about the many different stakeholders, we have also conducted a study to identify which are the different stakeholders that are involved into the connected and automated mobility. And as you can see, we have somewhere around 14 to 15 different types of stakeholders that we have identified, where they are all talking to each other with specific standards being applicable to them, with specific regulations applicable to different types of these stakeholders. And this we have tried to identify in our study. As I said before, all these studies are available on our website, the ENISA website, where you can download them for free and read through for more details. As you can see, we have identified OEMs, of course, different tier suppliers, smart infrastructure, different telecom companies which are providing the connectivity, the IT suppliers, the third-party service providers, as I said, the ones that are dealing with different modes of transportation, with parking, with traffic management, and so on and so forth. Different associations that exist. For instance, we have FIA as well, being one of them that we discussed. Automotive aftermarket operators, very important as well. Regulatory bodies, standardization bodies, and national competent authorities. As well, we cannot forget, of course, the users, the people that are actually using all these services that are being provided by these companies. We have also tried to identify the most critical systems within the ecosystem. And as I said, these are all have been validated with the different stakeholders, the ones that you have just not seen in the previous slide. So we have tried to sum up them into 7 different layers, trying to identify different systems which are valid for these layers. Of course, some of them might cross different layers because they might be considered for providing interactions of interoperability, for instance, and in this way also provide road infrastructure and tier connection between different IoT devices that exist on the road. So I'm not going to go through all of them. Obviously, we have identified smartphones and other portable devices being one of the ecosystem, as well as the smart home. We are now seeing more and more cars being able to connect to the grid. And this also leaves possible threats and attacks existing for the cars, but also for the grids as well. Some backends, cybersecurity tools and backends, as we say, risk management, vulnerability management, very important. As well as manufacturers and suppliers. This might be one of the biggest, so to say, layer that we have identified. We have split them into 3 different subcategories, as you can see: connected service management and upgrades of systems, as well as dealer networks like fleets of different fleet management, as well as maintenance tools. So these are dealing with predictive failures of systems and predictive maintenance of different systems, road systems as well. So again, as I said, this in more details is included in our studies that we have published. Some of the security measures that we have identified for good practices for providing cybersecurity. As well, we have split them into 5 different categories. As you can see: detection and reaction, risk ecosystem management, governance, of course, very important. How do you organize the whole cybersecurity, maintenance, and of course, cybersecurity management, IT management, and of course, operations technology. So the one that is actually dealing with actual changes within the ecosystem, for instance, making terms, making decisions, and so on and so forth, administration information systems, and so on. So with more detail, they're described in our studies, as I said. Now, we are also helping the industry, and by providing tools. Besides these studies that you have that I have just described, we are also providing online tools where you can actually go and select the assets that you would like to protect, and you can get the cybersecurity measures and the threats that are applicable to these assets. And we are also trying to keep them up to date. So here, as I said in the beginning of my presentation, we are helping you. We're providing you this for free. You can check it out on our website, and I can show it to you after. But we are also looking for your input, because this is a live system. The minute that we have identified the threats and the assets, they are getting old already, because new systems are being introduced, new threats are being introduced, and for us, in order to be able to provide proper cybersecurity measures and threats, we need to receive this information from you. And I know you are the ones that are actually dealing with firsthand with such issues. So we are looking for input on this, and we are open to changing these tools, to changing our studies, in order to be able to encompass properly the cyber threats and the measures that we're providing. So with that being said, this is my last slide, and I'll be happy to show you some of the tools that we have. While I'm showing you the tools, I'll be happy to hear from Sven if there are any questions.
Okay, so at first, thanks for the overview. Maybe I would propose that we first look what you can show us live on the tools, and afterwards we can pick up some questions.
Yes. So I'm showing you the latest tool that we have. So we have separated, as you can see, the different assets which are within the car, but which are also which are outside of the car. So you can see we have identified the assets inside the car, so decision-making algorithms, vehicle functions, the information itself is also an asset inside the car, the software management, the sensors, the different sensors, the actuators that actually make your car keep lanes, for instance, or something like this, the communications networks that they provide the possibility to receive, to send and receive information, as well as inside the in-vehicle communications components, where they talk to each other when they're providing different services. So these are the assets that we have identified inside the car, but we also have identified, as you can see, humans and mobile devices, which are actually entities which are outside the car. In some cases, it might be inside as well. But we have also identified cloud providers like network and information systems that are providing the connectivity, and in some cases might provide actually some sort of analysis or decision making. Even they can help to make. So as you can see, for instance, in nearby external components, we have identified communications components, traffic signs and lights that can also talk with the vehicle. So if we click on them, you should be able to see what are the threats associated with them. Here on the left side, you can see the different threats that are affecting these assets, and you can see the security measures and good practices that you can employ in order to be able to protect against these threats. Again, as I said, this is a live system, a live application. So we are aware that we cannot guarantee 100% protection in any case, in all cases. So we are open to receiving more threats, more good practices where we can add them to our tools. So, and if you look at these different threats and security measures, as you can see, we have identified 80 different security measures that are protecting against different threats. You can filter by different threats. You can filter by different measures. You can see cryptography, for instance, only. So you can see, which are the ones that are referring to cryptography. As you can see, we have here 5 specific measures, and you can actually download them as a checklist. So you can download an Excel where you have these security measures, and you can, when you are producing, let's say, services, products, software even, you can use this as a checklist to see if you are following at least the good practices that we have identified. So I think this, as you can see, this is, we have also for smart cars, we also have for different types of sectors as well, smart cities, you can see industry 4.0. But here we're focusing on smart cars specifically because I think it's mostly relevant for you. You can see the secure firmware updates we have identified. So these are the security measures that we have identified. As I said, you can filter by threats. So for instance, man-in-the-middle attack. So these are the different security measures which are applicable for this kind of threats. So for instance, we have narrowed it down to 66 out of 80, which help you protect against these type of attacks, threats, so to say. So I can move to other tools. Sven, do you have anything here to ask, maybe from any other colleagues?
And not directly related to this. So if you have some more tool,
yes,
comment that you can show it.
Yes, so this is one of our deliverables. This is the latest one. As you can see here on the top right corner, it says November 2019. It was actually published in 2020. And it's actually the mapping that I was talking about between different standards and providing the harmonization efforts that we're dealing with. So you can see here specific UNEC regulations, specific standards like PAS standard, specific standards. For instance, we have the NIST standards as well here mapped, as well as data protection. We have GDPR, of course. We have ISC standards. We have ISO standards 27000 as well, as you can see here. So they are all mapped to a one security domain, to one security measure, good practice, and they're mapped to different threat groups. So for instance, as you can see here, we have different threat groups to which these security measures are applicable. So if we're talking about hijacking, failures, malfunctions of sensors, or physical attacks even towards cars or even sensors. We have also covering unintentional damages. So if something is happening because of unintentional damage, like configuration, wrong configuration or something like this. And as you can see here, we have mapped all these security measures and standards to each other. So this is useful for different product manufacturers to OEMs, even service providers. So to know where, if they're applying one of these standards, that they are applicable, that they're complying with other standards as well. With UNEC regulation as well, that is mapped, the latest one, which has been published in actually 1 year ago in June 2020, I think. As you can see, it's quite comprehensive. I think it's around 60 pages. So it has a lot of security domains, security measures, threat groups. So they are actually included in this tool that I have just shown you. So if you go by detection, for instance, a security domain, you should be able to get all the good practices and the threat groups and the assets that they're affecting as well when we're talking about a smart car. You see UNEC regulation here as well. I will move to another one now. In the meantime, Sven, if you have anything to ask, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, maybe we can start with the first question. You mentioned before that there is under work at the moment a new version of this NIS directive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe give an outlook if there is something, and if it is, what is in the extension which affects maybe the automotive
Yes.
industry, like
Mm-hmm.
in the first version?
Yes, actually, I can open it here, and I have it here so you can see it as well. So this is the latest development. And actually, as I said, this has not yet been approved. So it's under discussion now with the European Commission, with the Parliament, with the Council. But as you can see here in the red letters, manufacturing, it includes electronic products, electrical equipment, machinery, and motor vehicles and semi-trailers and transport equipment. So what does this mean? This means that if this is accepted as it is now, these manufacturers would need to follow a certain minimum requirements for cybersecurity. This, of course, would need some time to be developed. This is because these sectors are new. The ones that are all in red are new sectors that are going to be added to the Network and Information Security Directive. So this would mean that the security measures that are going to be applicable to these sectors would need to be revised. And there is a second requirement coming from the NIS directive, and this is that they need to report major cyber incidents. So what does it mean? Of course, how a major incident is defined is something that, again, needs to be discussed. In the current version of the NIS directive, the major incidents have a certain definition, but with the new version of the NIS directive, these definitions might need to be revised in order to encompass properly all the sectors that are included. In this case, also motor vehicles, machinery, and electrical equipment. So this would mean that first, these manufacturers need to comply, as I said, to a certain cybersecurity requirements that will guarantee a minimum cybersecurity level for all the players that are identified here. And second, they would need to report major incidents to the national competent authority. And most probably that the CSIRT network, the computer security incident response teams, the national incident response teams. So this is the major issues that are coming from the new version of the NIS directive. I don't know if there are any other questions regarding this, but this is what is. Maybe I can look at here what will entail for them. As I said, security requirements here, some of them are mentioned, like risk-based, of course, security requirements, including accountability of top management. This is very important, and reporting of major significant incidents and cyber threats to the national competent authority. So, of course, as you can see, there is also sanctions that are possible to be applied for not complying with the NIS directive, but these are some certain that they need to be, of course, defined for different sectors, and they are not currently defined. So this is something that will come out in the probably next year.
Mhm.
So, yeah, any other questions?
Yeah, there's a question. You have talked a lot about yeah, let me say theoretical work and work products that you bring published and bring to us, to the community as well.
Yeah.
One question is, do you make also practical experience? For example, do you have an cybersecurity lab, or do you make some researches with real products or something like in this direction as well?
No, not really. For this, we cooperate with JRC, the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. So we actually, for instance, have published a artificial intelligence for smart cars recently. I think maybe in March this year we published it in 2021, where we actually worked with the research center there in order to publish this information. We currently don't have a research lab. What we have is we have training grounds and exercises grounds, but they're not really research labs as per se, as one would think.
Okay. Do you offer also something like virtual trainings or something for the community?
Actually, we do. Unfortunately, we don't have specifically for the connected and automated mobility. We have focused mostly on incident response and identifying threats, dealing with incidents, what you should do, who should be talking to, these kind of things. We are actually currently looking into our stakeholders. We have actually recently published a survey regarding the needs the different stakeholders are having. So it's published on our website, on our Twitter, on our LinkedIn. And you can actually go there and express your opinion and say, yes, we would like to see, let's say, ENISA providing trainings in the connected and automated mobility. So we are actually collecting this information right now. So we'll be happy to receive any input you have on this. Of course, this requires certain prioritization on our side. It doesn't mean that we will be able to immediately provide this kind of trainings, but this is something for us to consider. And if we get, let's say, a lot of critical mass on this, then we obviously will pay attention to this and probably provide something on this. But currently, we have trainings which are available free on our website, where you can download the different virtual machines, and you can test the different scenarios that we have provided. I think some of them might be relevant for automotive because they're generic. They're how to identify if there is a threat, how to identify if there is a malware, what to do about it. So I think this, to a certain extent, is also valid for this community. Of course, as I said, we don't have one that is specifically targeted towards the connected and automated mobility.
Okay, thanks. We received via the chat some questions regarding navigation. Could you maybe go to the start page or the landing page of ENISA and can quickly show how the community or the participants can or has to navigate to come to the automotive relevant topics?
Yes, 1 second. So if you go to if you type ENISA road, let's see what will come up. So yes, okay, maybe it's not the ones. Let me see if I can go to our topics. ENISA Europa EU. Okay, 1 second. I think if we go road, let's see if it works like this. Yes. So if you type enisa.europa.eu/road, then you will be able to see all the information that we have in smart transport, including the ones that I just mentioned. So you can see the recommendations for security of connected automated on the right side here, the challenges, the good practices of smart cars that I have just discussed, the previous study from 2017, and you should be also able to find the tools as well. Trying to find if I can find you here. We have the artificial intelligence as well here that we recently published. Let me see if I go to smart transport and see if I can find the tool. Maybe the tool is not that easy to find, but I should be able to find it. Maybe if we go to, we have also, as you can see, guidelines for securing supply chain. This is something very important. There it is, the tool. So if you click here, you should be able, as I said, to see the tool. So the smart cars is here. And it goes directly into the threats and security measures. The new version that I just showed you is going to be published most probably in the next couple of weeks, but with the car that I just showed you, the one here. So that should be visible as well. It's currently in development, but should be visible as well very soon. So I think that should help you navigate to on our website. As I said, if you type ENISA europa.eu/road, you should be able to reach this page. Yes.
Okay, thanks for that. As next question, could you maybe give a quick outlook or an overview about topics which are related to the smart transport area where you are looking at the moment or you work on at the moment?
Yes, at the moment we are not this year's work program. Road was not included in our work program, so we are reviewing this for the next year. So currently we will be looking actually for feedback on what exactly we can help the road authorities and as well the road community in this particular topic. So currently, as I said, we are not working on any specific projects, but we are looking forward for input on any issues that you think are relevant for us. Of course, on cybersecurity, that it makes sense for us to work on. We have as I said, an expert group with different stakeholders, academia, as I said, OEMs, tier 1, tier 2 providers, where we are looking into this. So if there are any burning issues, we will be really happy to see what we can do about it. Currently, we are also in transition period, as I said, because as you know, the UN regulation has been adopted now from 2022 July. It will be applicable for new cars. within the European Union. So we're looking forward to helping the European Union, the European Commission in harmonizing this. And as you know, from 2024, all cars need to, vehicles need to comply with this regulation. So I am assuming that there will be some work where ENISA will be involved in this, but currently we don't have anything concrete.
Okay. Thanks. Have I understood it correct that you have some more tool to show? Maybe then we can proceed with that.
Yes, I think on this particular one, nothing else left. I think this is the tool that I wanted to show to you. Yeah, I think the others are the IoT tools. I don't know if they make sense. As I said, they are more generic. So we have for industry and for smart cities, I don't know, or for IoT generic. So these are for industry of things, any kind of industry of things. So they're based on information that we published on 2017. And you can, of course, again, filter by different security measures, domains that you are interested in, asset management, security by design, logging, and so on and so forth. So, but this is more generic. It's not specific for smart vehicles.
Okay. Maybe it could be also interest for the participants. Can you say some words about how is ENISA founded and how is the relation with the other organizations in Europe and so on?
Yes, of course. So ENISA is the European Agency for Cybersecurity. So this means that we are a center of experts with which are knowledgeable on cybersecurity in different areas, and we provide advice and recommendations to the member states, to the European bodies when they're dealing with policy implementation, with capacity building trainings, with operational cooperation when, for instance, cross-border incidents are happening, and ENISA is involved to provide the connections and so on and so forth. As well as we are also working in research and innovation now. So we are also looking into new topics that are coming into cybersecurity. And we are also providing and collecting incidents from the ENISA directive. And we provide analysis of these incidents on an annual basis. So as I said, mostly our documents are recommendations towards either the policymakers or to the manufacturers how to improve security, cybersecurity, and to bring it to a higher level. We are also dealing with information sharing communities. So we are actively working in different areas to make information sharing between actors in one sector, in one area, to help them grow, to help them build this community, to be able to share this information. And in this way, to protect themselves and be aware if something new is coming. And this is also in line with the overall view of the European Union, where small, so to say, operational centers, security operations centers, or shields, as they're called, will be able to notify, let's say, ENISA or national competent authorities or the European Commission when something is happening, like new attacks in terms of ransomware, new attacks as NotPetya, these kind of things where the European Union needs to work. And this is in the case where we have attacks on a cross-border level. So as I said, we are cybersecurity experts that are providing advice and recommendations to the union and bodies, but in some cases we also provide operational cooperation. And currently there has been a joint cyber unit being recommended by the European Commission, where ENISA is going to take a leading role as well. So this joint cyber unit is actually going to take care when such crises happen, how we should be dealing with it, who should be contacting, and so on and so forth. So we provide, as I said, also trainings to a certain extent. Of course, we are not providing, we are not competing with training companies. Our idea is to train the trainers, so to say, to be able to help the community train and be able to then they train all the other stakeholders that they have working with. So there are many other things that we have, small things that I didn't mention, but generally that's the idea.
Okay, thanks very much for this overview. We are through to all the questions I received. I see that, or I have the feeling that we have also some common goals, I would say, between ENISA and ASRG. We are more focused for sure, because we set the focus for us on the automotive industry, but it not not as focused only on vehicles. We also want to take care about the needed infrastructure that you also described in your presentation. And I think it would be really great if we find also some ways to collaborate together, because both organizations, so far I understood, we are interested to bring the security to a higher level. Finally, to spread information, share information, build up knowledge, and finally us from big incidents. And yeah, there I'm really sure that there will be some points where we can come together, and I would really appreciate it if we find some common projects or something like that.
Yes, and I can actually add something that I forgot, and this is about, of course, certification and standardization. Now, with the new mandate that ENISA got, we are also producing certification schemes for cybersecurity. So, what I would suggest is we are very often publishing calls for people to participate in ad hoc groups for creating such schemes. Of course, not all schemes are going to be meaningful for you, but in the case when we are covering automotive or any other that might be interest to you, you are more than welcome to apply to become member of these groups and provide actually feedback and help shape, so to say, the cybersecurity schemes within the European Union.
Yeah, for sure. This are possibilities I see as well, and for that we can also use our network or our community.
Very good.
Okay. So again, thanks for this overview, and bring this topic regarding ENISA also to ASRG, and provide the information to our community. Now it's the time that I would give you the chance to say some final or closing words to the participants.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be presenting in front of such group. And as I said, we are open to receiving feedback. We are open to collaborate. So don't hesitate to participate in ad hoc groups that are on our website, or to send us an email and tell us, we are seeing an issue, maybe ENISA could help us there. So we are open to collaborating with you, and happy to be coming in another way, another time as well.
Okay, thanks. Then also from my side, thank you very much for participate to our webinar today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we see us again in one of our upcoming webinars as well during the next weeks or months. Whenever you have time and you are interested in the topic, you are welcome. And then finally, I have to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.